Hi, I'm Feroz Khan, and welcome to Drag and Drop Low Code Unplugged, the podcast where we explore the game changing impact of low code in software development. Join me in insightful conversations with IT leaders and passionate low code enthusiasts who are at the forefront of this digital evolution. Together, we'll explore how early adoption of low code is giving businesses a competitive edge on a global scale. We'll discuss its impact on software development, dissect its role in transforming businesses, and uncover the ways in which it's reshaping career trajectories. So whether you're a seasoned IT professional or a curious enthusiast, be sure to tune in as we share success stories and unravel the mysteries of low code. Subscribe now and stay tuned for a front row seat to the revolution that's shaping the future of technology. So let's go. Hi Rene, how are you?
Hi, Feroz. I'm good.
That's
How are
good.
you?
That's great. Yeah, I'm good, thank you. It's good to get you on as a guest. Thank you for taking the time.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
No, I appreciate it. It'd be good to, I think a lot of people would know you, but it'd be good to kind of, get you to give us a bit of an introduction of who you are, where you're from, a bit about yourself.
Yeah, people in the Mendix community might know me a bit, indeed, but everyone else
Yeah.
might not, because I'm world famous within the Mendix community, to say the least. Working with Mendix and for Mendix for 14 years now. Started 2010 as a consultant slash trainer, and I did several projects, but also took responsibility of the Mendix Academy, built the Mendix Academy. So the whole certification program as it is right now, and the structure of the courses is, you can blame it on me.
Okay.
But I left Mendix 2017 to join a Mendix partner. Because a Mendix Academy or a platform academy in itself is really focused on the platform itself and knowledge, while I've also a background as teacher, a high school teacher. I want to make people proficient, which means that
Yeah.
you need to do a little bit more than just the platform itself. So that's what I try to envision at the Mendix partner. But there are some limitations there, especially competition with other partners, etc. So that was the reason I founded the Low Code Academy, which is providing the Mendix trainings as well. And we are partnering with Mendix as well. And so still close relationship with Mendix. So in the 14 years, I have seen a lot of new faces within the Mendix community, trained a lot of people. So yeah, that's quickly my background.
Sure. And just rewinding back to obviously before Mendix, you mentioned you were a teacher, high school teacher, you said, I think, yeah.
Yeah, sure.
How did you hear about Mendix, and were you already teaching in technology? What was how did you kind of get exposed to go from teaching to, working for Mendix, really?
Yeah, then maybe I should go a little bit even further back in my past because before I was
It'd be
a
good. Yeah.
high school teacher, I actually was an airplane mechanic.
Yes, I saw that actually. Yes.
Yeah. Which is my career has some specific turns.
Yeah.
So, but I worked as an airplane mechanic, but I was inspired by one of my teachers during my study to become an airplane mechanic. So he inspired me in such way. Later, when I'm grown up, I want to teach other people to become the same. So that was somewhere in my head. So I took. I was young. I had time, no kids, so time to invest. So I went back to the university to take or get a teacher's degree. And simultaneously, I also started working as a high school teacher and technology teacher. So
Nice.
yes, I did a quick turn in my career, but it was still technology. From there, I went to a shipyard, or actually one of the biggest shipbuilders there are, especially in the Netherlands, but also worldwide. I organized there the trainings as well. But that was quite shipbuilders are old-fashioned,
Yeah.
traditional. This is how
Yeah.
we do it. Changing
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah, why would you change? Because it works.
It works. Yeah.
It's not to blame them, but that's kind of a culture, and
Old school. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
yeah, but that doesn't suit me as a person because I want to innovate, I want to
Mm.
improve, etc. So that was the reason why I went looking for another job, and combining technology background, education background, the drive to grow, innovate, change, at least not sitting still,
Yeah.
brought me to a vacancy at Mendix, a startup somewhere in
Yeah.
Rotterdam. They're doing application development, agile, modeling. Low code was not even mentioned because that term was not
Yeah.
coined
Yeah. It
yet.
wasn't. Yeah.
A rapid application development,
Yeah. RAD. Yeah.
maybe
Yeah.
something like
Yeah.
that. A lot of buzzwords I could not understand, but I saw a few things: startup, agile. I looked it up on internet. What does it mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so I discovered, all right, this could fit me because this is a environment. It already told me the vacancy. Okay, we want to conquer the world. We have a
Mm.
good story, but we do not know everything. Let's discover together. Let's go for it.
Nice.
And that ticked the boxes for me. So I went for an interview there, or at least I applied and they invited me,
Mm.
luckily. And I had it was really, I like to tell this because this is
Yeah.
something which is good for my ego. No, I had an interview with Roald Kruid, one of the founders, and Johan Haan, the former CTO.
Yeah.
Johan Haan was really chatty and a nice conversation, and Roald was only sitting there observing, analyzing me actually,
Yeah. Okay.
which he's very good at. And he asked me one question. He said, "Okay, are you analytical? What are your analytical skills?" And I said, so I thought about that for a while, and okay, I'm quite analytic, which is true. And then he said, "Yeah, although you are a little bit older, you come across quite young. I think you will fit in the team. Welcome at Mendix." And it was famous because I had 2 or 3 more interviews,
Interviews. Yeah.
applications that we were running, and then I went to the last round, ending up with
Yeah.
2, and then they said, "Yeah, you know exactly what you're talking about. You're really a professional, but you come across quite young, so we choose the other." So based on that, I was hired at Mendix.
Yeah.
30 people at that moment.
Wow.
R&D, expert service or projects as
Yeah.
implement right now, including sales, everybody included. And I learned the trade of developing an app from, Roald Kruid at least.
Mm.
Together we crafted the first course. But in the meanwhile, I was also doing some projects with Jasper van der Hoek, which is still one of the senior architects at Mendix. So I learned application development. I'm not saying the hard time, but it's really here you go.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
do it. Well, I didn't have any software engineering background.
Yeah.
That's so
And
that's
how did you find that? Was that challenging for you, or was there a lot of kind of obviously you worked alongside people, so was there kind of a lot of support, or was there something that it's built so well it was kind of for someone who's clever enough can work it out and get through it?
a combination of everything because
Okay.
I was also changing environment, and
Mm.
Mendix is about one of the main keys of Mendix is bridging the gap between business and IT, and that's
Mm.
I'm thinking they're doing a good job there. But I was not only business, I was a high school teacher
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
education, which is, and of course that's, you can describe that as business as well, but I was not really business schooled. So if you
Mm.
have for here in the Netherlands, you have the business information management university courses, and
Mm.
those are really suitable for Mendix, and they already think in business processes, analyzing business processes and giving
Mm.
words to that. Well, I was thinking about education and my education process,
Mm.
which is completely different than analyzing business processes. And so I had to learn that as well, or at least the language of it
Yeah.
and how people will describe that. But on the other hand, as an airplane mechanic, I'm very strict in everything I do. Because if someone works on my car and a car mechanic working on my, he gets a hard time because he brings it back. It must be tidy, everything.
Yeah.
So I do not accept a little bit of bullshitting around it. So from my airplane mechanic background, but the same counts for software engineering. You cannot just play around. You're delivering. It must be secure, performing, yada yada yada. So that connects. Also, debugging, for me, debugging a microflow, the logic within Mendix, I do it exactly the same as how I debugged a issue in an hydraulics system of an airplane. It's exactly the same approach, or for me at least. And so from that perspective, it was quite easy because what's important, you can analyze it quickly, you can debugging processes, understanding how they affect each other. It is quite easy. Only you have to find the words. And secondly, software engineering itself. While Mendix is modeling, it is low code. Everybody with some analytical skills is able to do it. It's all true. But in the end, it is still software engineering. And there are still concepts and techniques you need to know. And not only the techniques, also the way it is phrased.
Yes.
There's a database and there's a table, and I had some concepts on it, but I have to look it up. Java heap memory. You have to translate it for so it was intense. I had a lot of coaching of my colleagues, and not really that they were coaching me continuously, but I was really, they were very open to me. I could ask any questions and they will explain it to me. Only they use words I had to Google. That's the other thing. That's, I was hired as a consultant / trainer, so I had to become a trainer. That was the goal. So in 2 months, I was already hosting the first basic course. Fake it until you make it. That's the if someone asks a question from a more technical perspective without using a term I didn't know at that moment, I just asked them just a next question, so they gave you information so you could at least a little bit what's happening, and so they start explaining what it is, and while not knowing that they were explaining it to me.
Got you. Okay.
It's just tricky, but also noting down all the words and the concepts that dropped. So at the end of the course, at 4 o'clock, participants go
Google.
And I had to Google it. So I arrived at 7 o'clock in the morning. I did the visit. I had to organize the coffee, the seats, everything nice. So everyone was tidy. Then 8:30 people came in. I was settled there. Everything was good. Then I hosted the training course, where I had to fake it sometimes a little, have some specific interaction, and then from 4 o'clock till 7 p.m. and I was preparing the day thereafter, ensuring that. And it were quite long days, quite intense. So back to your question, was it hard? It was intense, and it was actually. I was 14 years younger than I was now. I don't have to think about how to do the same again. But I really loved it. There were good days, definitely. Hard, intense, but good.
And I think it's with any profession, like you said, like you went away, you did your research in, like, you were kind of the things you didn't understand, you went away and did your own research, and that's what only makes you better at what you're gonna do and deliver.
Definitely. And of course, the first, you fake it until you make it. But I think I made it now. Not only after 14 years, I was already.
And eventually you start using those words yourself as well.
Sorry?
Eventually you start using those words yourself as well.
Yes, that's the the bingo of within
Yeah, yeah,
software
yeah.
engineering. I know them all.
Yeah,
And I like to say that I'm not a software engineer and that I'm not a nerd.
yeah,
But deep in my heart, I know I'm a nerd. I know
yeah.
it. I know it all. That's the thing you learn. Yeah, definitely. But also during the time I was learning myself, because I knew at that moment already that I would providing training, or I was already
Mm,
providing training, and my job in the end would be crafting a training program.
mm,
So besides learning myself, I also took note, okay, what were the moments the coin dropped?
mm.
What did I need to understand so I can speed up the learnings from others?
Yeah.
Because I had to search and try this, try that, try something else. And then
Mm,
eventually I discovered what the real answer was and how it worked, etc. And now I can reduce that. And
yeah.
that's how I started crafting the first training courses at Mendix, and it's what I still do today.
Yeah. And were you involved in the certification process as well?
Yeah,
Yeah.
indeed.
So that it's three levels, right? Beginner, advanced, expert.
Rapid, intermediate, advanced, and
Full
expert.
expert.
Uh,
Yeah.
Intermediate was released after I left Mendix,
Okay.
so it's where I was not involved.
Mm,
Actually, the fun story is we released the Rapid, the first, and it was just a set of multiple choice questions.
yeah.
And the goal was at that moment, at least, that people understood, had knowledge, so that
Yeah.
they could replicate it. And it was an open book exam because
Mm,
for me, from educational perspective, if you do not know the answer and you look it up, at least that question is answered in such way that is A, correct, but secondly, you will never forget that one.
yeah.
If the
Yeah.
answers you give, which are correct by accident,
Yeah,
that's
exactly. You just
something
guess it, don't you? Yeah.
you had it, it's
Yeah.
correct, you will get your points, but did you learn
Mm,
something? So I
mm,
rather have that someone looks up the answer
yeah.
and then will never forget it anymore. So that's for me, the exam was also a second learning moment
Yeah.
on that. So, but the fun fact was I crafted that exam with some colleagues, but in the end I was
Yeah.
responsible for it. I reviewed all
Yeah.
the questions. I entered it in the exam machine, and then I took the exam myself. I passed it, but I had
Uh,
98%. So
oh,
I'm
wow. Okay.
it's still so I have my rapid certification
Yeah.
based on my exam I created myself, but it didn't
Yeah.
pass with 100%.
Fly colors. Yeah. That's crazy.
Yeah,
And obviously being at Mendix when there was kind of, only 30 people, how do
yeah,
you feel, the business itself has evolved over the years? Because that was quite a while ago and
yeah,
it's really grown since. Um, obviously Dutch company, it's global. How
yeah.
do you think it's evolved in that time?
Um, it, it did evolve definitely, but it didn't.
Mm,
That's I think the way the culture within Mendix, but also the goals of Mendix, what's the vision of Mendix, and what they want to achieve and how they want to achieve it, and not necessarily in detail, but in
mm,
the vision on, okay, you have Studio Pro, what you can do in it, etc., etc. That's still the same.
yeah.
14 years ago, it was exactly the same, and of course there was some shifts in focus from the business and how you will enter the market, etc. But the heart is still the same. So in that case, from that perspective, it did not evolve because it was not
Okay.
necessary, which
Yeah.
is I think is a good thing. That's not
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
they
Yeah.
stuck to it and they're they're
Yeah.
they're
Yeah.
they're obsolete on someone. I think the story was good 14 years ago and it's
Yeah.
still good right now. On the other hand, as a company itself, with 30 people, then the dynamics in the company itself are different, but also the market. Where a good example is that, or experience from me is my first courses, there were of course developers who started using Mendix, but also
Mm,
architects, lead developers, decision makers within the companies who just attended the first rapid developer
yeah.
courses just to evaluate the platform. And I like it was sometimes like they came in with a chainsaw to cut Mendix in two pieces because they didn't
Yeah.
believe it and they had to go from their employer from the boss, check that out. Yeah, I don't want
Yeah,
it
yeah,
to. And so they came in with the chainsaw to cut it.
yeah.
Go back to the company to say
Yeah,
this is nothing.
yeah, yeah,
So my challenge was to convince them and make them evangelists. And I'm not saying that it always worked out, but in many
yeah,
cases it worked out. So that was.
yeah,
But if I look to the trainings you give today, you train people who are going to use the Mendix platform.
yeah.
And sometimes it's also about a little bit about evaluation, but
Mm,
not that much anymore. And they're not
mm,
coming in with as a chainsaw. There were low code. It was not called low code in that period of time, but
mm.
it was low code.
Yeah.
It had to find its position within the market, position within the development cycles of and departments of companies. And now it is we're evaluating low code platforms, and not because we want to see if low code in general is something. No, are we going to use OutSystems or Mendix, or are we using Power Apps or
Yeah,
whatever? So it's not the question will we, but which will be
yeah, yeah,
used. And those dynamics are changed so much.
yeah,
And if I look to the platform itself, um, I believe it was a half year ago, something like that, I installed 2.5.0 again, which is
yeah,
the first version I used to when I was in Mendix. The very first version was 2.4.x. Was the latest version on
yeah.
that. 2.5 was the one with microflows, and where actually it was quite mature. And the fun thing is that when I started at Mendix, it was in August 2010. And in the end of August, we had a weekend off in the Ardennes with Mendix.
Yeah,
And that was just partying. But there was also, it was a company event, and thus the CEO, Derek, must say
yeah,
something, and we should do
yeah,
something official. We tried.
yeah, yeah, of course,
Without
yeah.
it, we tried. But the great thing was there, I still remember it. And because I was also really new to the whole,
Yeah,
this was also new to me. He said, we have grown as a company, and now 2.5 we have just released, and that's a very mature editor, and this is where we can build upon. We as company are mature, something like that. Mendix was then 5 years old, something
yeah,
2005, 6 they started.
yeah,
So 5-ish years. And if I look back to that 2.5 and now 10.8, which is now
yeah,
14 years ago, it was just another editor. Instead of
yeah,
using whatever code editor, you start using Mendix to
yeah,
model, and that's it. Requirements, used whatever. It's outside Mendix.
yeah,
Word, Excel, Jira, or
yeah,
whatever tool was used, and that's it. Cloud deployment. Yeah, we had a cloud. True.
yeah, yeah,
Which was managed through black boxes and or through other people somewhat. Actually, that weekend is also the free app thingies was just kind of really, there was something playing around with that. But if I look right now, it's not an editor anymore. And of
yeah,
course, Studio Pro, the editor, is very, very important, because no editor, there's nothing. So you have
yeah,
still all the stuff, but it's the whole landscape. From start, bringing your team together, requirements engineering, planning, start modeling, releases, and now last release also pipelines were released in beta, which means that CI/CD is automated within
yeah,
them, and it can be covered. And like I said, I installed 2.5 just half a year ago,
yeah, yeah,
because I found it somewhere in a Dropbox, and yeah, let's see if
yeah,
it
yeah,
works. 14 years ago, it was really nice to work with it,
yeah,
smoothly, etc. And now I was using it, and I said, "Oh, this is so clunky.
yeah,
How could we
yeah.
have lived with that? Why
You
did
thought it
we?"
was amazing back then. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah, and that was also the moment you appreciate what you have right now, because
yeah.
I'm an MVP, so I'm really close
Yes.
to Mendix. I'm close to product management, and also as MVPs, you may know we are sometimes also bitching around about, yeah, this can better, that,
Yeah,
of course,
yeah,
but it's always because we have to drive to make it even better. But
yeah,
if we
sharp.
look back, then we
Yeah,
have gained so much, and it is a
yeah,
platform. It is is covering everything. So in that perspective, yeah, has changed big time.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Based upon the same philosophy, the same vision,
yeah,
covering the same.
yeah.
Yeah.
And like you said, you're working on a kind of 2.5, it's 10.8 now, and so many things have kind of, and like you said, in all these discussions now, low code is always it's an option for companies, when they're looking at their projects. What do you think are kind of some of obviously there's releases that happen all the time, but what are some kind of, you think, big releases that really help the platform gain that advantage?
First, a few steps, the growth from editor to platform. So then Sprinter,
Yeah,
the project management and the cloud was added first. That wasn't a big step first, and that has grown over time now with pipelines as well. So this is the platform step. The second step is mobile. And as of now, we have native mobile. But prior to that, it was the hybrid version, and it was just also piloting. And I think that's also a good nature of Mendix, trying stuff out, and there have been some shifts. Very, very, very good. Then Mendix was running on their own cloud, which meant that they're at their own servers, and then they're making the step to AWS, but all Red Hat and all those cloud providers, which makes it really, really scalable on that, and make also for your resources. I think that's a very good step. And the move, which surprised me and many others, being acquired by Siemens.
yes.
We all know Siemens, German, Punktlicht and strict. And then you have Mendix. Of course, we're doing things good. But on the other hand, let's see how it works out. That's actually what I meant with the mobile part. It's, let's see how it works, and we'll learn from that. And that's, no offense for the Germans, but the German mentality plus versus the Mendix mentality, that collides a little bit. But the great thing is that I do see that Siemens is learning from that smaller company, Mendix.
Yeah.
And I think Mendix is also learning a lot from Siemens, because there was also thing.
Of course.
Sometimes you need to professionalize, and then you have a big brother Siemens, which is sometimes the hard time. So there's a good balance. But it was not the most logical one. A year before they were acquired by Siemens, they released a partnership with SAP. It would have been way more logical from technology perspective that it would have been acquired by SAP, for example. But it didn't. And now, from cultural perspective and how this works out, I think it was the best choice to make. Because now they can use the Siemens ecosystems, but also with all the technology of Siemens, there is a really good fit. It surprised me, and then you discover that you do not know companies actually, because Siemens for the washing machines and which is completely not true. Of course they do some washing machines, but that's not what they are doing. And so I think these are the biggest highlights for it. And there are a lot more smaller things with, but they're actually related to these things. And I might forget things, but
okay. And obviously, like you mentioned, you're an MVP, and you get involved in discussions and things like that. Is there anything that the platform doesn't provide that is a frustration that you'd like to see in the future?
Oof. That's a hard question.
Or anything that's there but kind of doesn't offer you, needs to be kind of improved.
Testing, and there are some testing tools around, and for example, Mendix, I think they are doing a really good job, but I want to see that more closely to the platform. It is now something outside, additional, and so on, and really related to pipelines. You have to do it. CI/CD is not only about yes, I'm modeling stuff and I will throw it over the fence and now it's on the server, something like that. No, this is about the whole process, including testing. And there are a lot of abilities, right? But it feels not necessarily out of the box. It isn't, while all the other things are out of the box. One other thing which is I like is Mendix Connect, formerly known as Data Hub, that they make it available for everyone without license. I think that's the best move they could have done, because that will give so much power to people in companies to build apps on top of within the company. And testing, I'm not saying this is the same, but also it should be out of the box available easily and accessible. But now you have to look for it, and of course you can implement it. And with pipelines, they were going to integrate it. So I think it will come, but it's not yet there.
Yeah,
that's the thing. So I think a lot is to gain there. Yeah. Also because the testing is a lot seen like, oh yeah, we have developed something, and yes, we need to test it. So, oh yeah, let's do it. Like more a hurdle you need to take, because it is mandatory, but you rather throw it in production, which is also the nature of Mendix. People who work in Mendix, especially from the early days, they were not necessarily software engineers, and they could build apps. And they released it, and I have to admit, there's built a lot of bogus with Mendix. You can easily make stuff with Mendix, but you can easily break stuff with Mendix within the same speed. And testing enforces you to think whatever you want, rethink everything again. And you do not like that. So, and then finding the right balance on, okay, we're working agile, we're working low code, we want to have high speed, and we do not want to have the hurdle of testing as a blocker, but it should be there. So I think that's a big challenge.
I get and I guess obviously, it's forever evolving, and there's updates always coming. So hopefully that's something that they take all you guys' feedback on board. And
yeah, sure, I'm involved in user feedback multiple times, and sometimes it's more about UX. Sometimes about this. I'm a less technical guy because I'm still an airplane mechanic. Also a former high school teacher, and thus I'm not a hardcore software developer. Even I am, but I don't. My involvement in Mendix projects is limited at this moment, so therefore I'm not the technical guy providing Mendix with the technical feedback. So I'm more focusing on usability of the platform itself. How does it work? What do you need? What do junior Mendix developers need versus senior developers and processes? So that's my strength. On this developer experience. That's what it is. That's my main impact. And from training perspective, I'm MVP, but also certified Mendix trainer. And my relation within Mendix itself means that we have close connection with the Mendix Academy and the people there. And we contribute there as well. So there's my feedback as well. So that's and I'm doing that as MVP/trainer, certified trainer.
Of course.
And also former Mendix employee, which is still Mendix Blue. And also the Mendix Academy is a little bit of my baby, a bit. For me,
of course.
So I need to have some distance to it. But the other hand, if I can help people there, then I will still do it. So there are multiple reasons why I'm still involved there.
And obviously that leads well into my next question. Obviously, Low Code Academy, you founded Low Code Academy. What was the thinking? Can you tell us a bit about, obviously, what made you start up your own business? And also, it's a training company, but you can talk about a bit and kind of tell us, what you're focused on and what you're doing.
Yeah. I already told a bit about my history, Mendix, then
Yeah.
Mendix partner, and then founding the Low Code Academy because of the Mendix platform, or the platform academy is focusing on knowledge and want to learn people to click, right? Which is a good thing. I'm not going to say that is not good, but that's the logical focus.
Yeah.
From a Mendix partner, this is a consultancy partner, so consultancy is the focus, and an academy is additional and sometimes not the focus. Secondly, competition. Other partners are hesitating or not even sending people to your trainings. And I'm a teacher. I want to train people, whatever. I don't care about your background. I don't care about where you work. I just want to learn your stuff, period. So I do not want to be blocked. So that didn't work out. So that was the initial trigger for founding my own company. If you can do it in these two locations, okay. So I'm not an entrepreneur because I want to be an entrepreneur. No, I'm an entrepreneur because I had a mission.
Yeah,
that's the goal. Which I like having an own company, but it was not my goal, right? My life goal is helping people, bringing people further in their life, and that can be a career, it can also be personal, and all that. And that's also the heart of the Low Code Academy. We're really focusing on making people really proficient and learn them real new things so they can really use it. I refuse, and I'm very strict on it. I will not allow that someone says, okay, I have a nice topic, let's create a workshop for that. And the result is that we have people in the workshop, and after the end of the workshop, people say, yeah, that's really, really interesting, I learn a lot. And then a week after, if you ask, okay, what did you learn? And could you put it in practice? And then if they are honest, they say, no. It was inspiring sessions. We saw that the other one had a lot to tell. And ticked a lot of boxes for us, but I am not enabled. I'm not able. And I've seen it so much. And that's exactly what the Low Code Academy is focused on. We want to enable people so that after a week and after a month, if you ask them, what did you learn? And were you able to put it in practice? Then they can give an answer. Okay, I've learned this and I've done that, and it helped me with this. It must be, it must add value to them in their daily work, in their daily life. And that's the most important thing. And learning, there's more to it, but there are two main components. There's knowledge and there's skill. And I think knowledge, everybody can provide knowledge. You can find it in the Mendix documentations. You have Mendix learning paths, which are good to provide knowledge. But we from the Low Code Academy are focusing on building skill. And of course, you need knowledge for it. But it is really about, how do I use all those bits and pieces together? How will I question, especially from Mendix perspective, if you are a Mendix developer, you are automating processes together with the business. So we start our bootcamps and we train people from 0 to hero, from, I don't know, either a software engineer without Mendix background, either a business person. I have a ballet dancer. I have in my bootcamp. From that to Mendix Advanced and even further. But the majority of everything we do is make you think correctly. So what is your starting point? What's your goal? What do you need in between? And along the way, we share knowledge. We have some theoretical lectures, but we also have exercises to put it in practice. And evaluating those exercises, hey, what did you model? What did you provide? Is going back to the question, where did the user start? What was the need of the user? And did you answer that question? And why did you make those choices? Which is a completely different approach than, okay, this is an entity, this is an attribute, this is the domain model, and this is a page, this is how you connect it to each other. That's important. But if you do not know why are you adding an entity, and why are you adding a page, and why are you having this microflow with logic, then it is not useful. And that's throughout the whole program we have. That's the goal. And I think that delivers the best learning from the developer itself, but also adds the best value to the company, because most of the cases companies pay us.
Yeah. Yeah.
I have a new junior Mendix developer, or I have an existing team and they have to grow from intermediate to advanced. They pay a fair amount of money. I will never say that I'm cheap in amount of money, but I think I'm cheaper because I add a lot more value.
Yeah.
And that is what it is about. And of course, during the job, you also learn. I'm not saying that I will offer a bootcamp. Here's your new senior.
Yeah.
But you have the good foundation to build your growth on. So so the Low Code Academy, why it is founded, out of purpose. And the vision of the Low Code Academy is really enable people of all kinds. So from background, software engineers to business people to anyone actually, but also in any region, and also in background of people. Actually, Low Code Academy, 2/3 of the Low Code Academy are women.
Wow.
Yeah, and I'm really proud of having them. And I don't know. I've got 4 sisters. I got 3 daughters. So women are all around in my life.
All around you.
And I can and really easily work with them. But they also have not a completely different way of thinking, but a different perspective sometimes, and it adds so much value to the team, and with the team to the Low Code Academy, and from the Low Code Academy to whoever we're training, and that's also something we really are targeting. It's because it's quite easy for people who already made it in their career. And then, okay, now I'm learning also Mendix, or I'm a student and my parents are still together and I have a happy life, and oh yeah, nice, I'm learning Mendix as well, so I'm now a young professional using. Good. I'm not. I don't want to fire them, but there are also a lot of people in the world, in the Netherlands, also even I have high standards here, but also outside of the Netherlands, there are a lot of people who are not that lucky. And we're continuously looking into, okay, how can we enable them? How can we bring them to the next level? So during our trainings, which are sometimes quite intense, it's not only about, did you do what you needed to do? Did you do the exercise and evaluate the exercise? I'm always keeping an eye on who are you and how are you growing as a person, learning in a person. And actually, this happened a few times, but one time a guy was in a boot camp, and that till 4, 5 in the afternoon normally. But it was 2 o'clock. He was sitting behind his desk, and I looked him in the eye. And then, what are you doing here? Some fake story, and actually was trying to cover up that he was completely blocked.
Oh, really?
So I looked him in the eyes. I said, okay, just stop. Close your laptop. Go home. Yeah, but no, close it. Go home. And he went home. An hour later, I got an app message with a picture. He was walking through the dunes in the Netherlands with his running gear on. And the day after, he came back. He was 8 o'clock already in the office, was working on it with a fresh hat. So
ready to go.
So for me, it is more than just training. It is also really about people. And it was an example of someone who was mentally blocked at that moment. There's a lot more. In the Netherlands, we trained a lot of refugees as well, giving them the possibility to start their life here in the Netherlands. And for refugees, it is very important to be involved in the society, and
Yeah.
and if you have a job on your level, so not a doctor who is collecting the garbage because
Yeah.
reason. I'm not saying that the garbage collector is not good enough, but
Yeah.
it's about, does it connect with you with your skills, and can
Yeah.
you bring into society all your capabilities at your level? And then if you train people as Mendix developer at their level, and then they can find a job at their level and join the society in that perspective, that's so much worth. So sometimes that costs us a little bit money,
Yeah.
but so be it.
Yeah.
As I already mentioned, I'm not an entrepreneur. I don't own a company because I wanted to own a company.
Yeah.
For Low Code Academy, that means, of course, we are not cheap in money. And yes, we make a margin on it, but it is all focused on making stuff work again.
Yeah.
So if I have to choose, okay, I will train you for free because I will
Yeah.
make. So it's not about my Ferrari.
Hmm.
So I don't have one, but
That was
but I
my
don't
next
have.
question. Yeah.
I like cars, and if I
Yeah.
ever could own and buy a Ferrari, I will never say no. But
Yeah.
that's not the goal. Why I do have this
Yeah.
use result. So I probably will never have one. So that's I
Okay. Well, someone is like, you got that training mentality, and obviously you're a trainer. What's kind of, can you tell us kind of, for people who have a traditional background or a non-IT background, what's needed for them to enter the world of low code, and in your case, Mendix?
yeah. A bit the same. Learning to think like a Mendix developer. That's the end goal, of course.
Yeah.
But the starting point is, of course, different. And where a software engineer is really technical, thinking out of development patterns, practices, technology. And for example, a business, someone from a business thinks in processes and what do I need? Then a software engineer or an hard high code developer,
Yeah.
just put it that way, needs to sometimes unlearn things because things are sometimes different approached or done within Mendix.
Yeah.
And secondly, they have to learn to think from user perspective. I think this is a nice thing. I'm also closely working with people from with OutSystems, and what I do see there is that, for example, OutSystems and the high coders is related, really think from the data and use that. While within Mendix, for example, the domain model, which representing the data structure, is more from which data do I need in my process. Oh yeah, will end up in the database, and still software engineering, and yeah, you still need to think about that. But the way how you set up your domain model, the way how you will develop your application is from user perspective. The process. So that's something what a software engineer or a high coder should learn. Also, the fact that many teams are smaller, the interaction with the business is more. So if you are a software engineer, nerd style, like to nerd in the basement without interaction, now Mendix might not be
Yeah.
but I've also seen people with that kind of background and that kind of native to say, okay, but if I start interacting, I know more, I can do more. And so that's a skill which must be learned just for a software engineer, while someone from the business side is common to do that.
Yeah.
But you have to, how do I translate that to technology, software engineering, and domain model database? Yeah, I know what a database is, but hey, how do I data normalization in a technical sense of it? They have to learn that. What's an object? What's a Java?
Yeah.
So they both have to learn things. Business, more technical things. A high coder, more business stuff, but also learn to put their knowledge software engineering, their high code knowledge in perspective of Mendix, because Mendix is great, but for a software engineer, sometimes it feels like it is blocking because I have these Lego blocks and that's where I need to do it. First, yes, let's admit that. Secondly, there are some development patterns you have to convert it, how that does work within Mendix. That's something you can learn. And as a third, I think the best Mendix team is someone from with a high code background, of a software engineering background, and someone from the business. Because they can make a functional app for the user with technical stuff. And I mentioned about my first project with Jasper van der Hoek. We had to integrate with some obscure old, I don't know, even, it was not even so, it was some strange integration with a system in the UK from the Netherlands. And I still don't know how he did it. But he was like Java code legends, and he made it work. So from me, I needed him, and I think that's also the balance. But we created a application for QuickFit, which is in the UK as well, for the mechanics to look up for window repairs. So window replacements, and you have to select the windows and order it, etc. I've been an airplane mechanic, so I already knew they don't like to do that. How would we design the interface, and how would we make facilitate their process? I could give a lot of input. Business perspective, perspective, and together with Jasper, I think we delivered something really valuable. Because he could do the stuff I couldn't, and I did the stuff he couldn't.
That's great.
And I'm not saying that high coders are not front end savvy and don't like it, but I think you should empower the high coders to bring in their knowledge to deliver quality apps. So for me, a high coder is not, I'm degraded as developer because I need to drag and drop blocks and that's it. No, you can still do the technical side, adding extra Java actions or JavaScript things, but also your knowledge about how do we improve performance. And so they will lose nothing. Only use it wisely. And for us, that's nice because sometimes I have in the bootcamp multiple people with different backgrounds. Software engineer versus a business. But I'm doing the same program. I'm explaining the same. And then people ask me, but how do you differentiate? Because we have nice exercises, and these exercises are not click here, click there, make this. No, give me this functionality, build it. So that allows me or us to differentiate where a business user or a business developer we're focusing on the technical side. Learn that. For a high coder, a back-end high coder, what are you going to do with the front end? I'm not going to do that. Yes, you sure you will. we're training you there. Or even if they're doing that as well, then it allows me to challenge them further. So the application delivered with someone who's new to the application development and who's already familiar with it, the level of the application they build will be more or less technical, and I can give them a lot of more challenges. So they will learn both a lot, but the level of what you reach is of course different because your starting point is somewhere else. And even having them combined within in a training makes that they will learn from each other as well.
That's great.
So
that's really good. And obviously when you're doing these classes and training sessions and you're coming across a variety of skill sets when you're training people, do you ever have, probably especially if you're going into a company who's getting their developers trained and they've got a different background, who push back on low code and they don't really believe in low code? So what would your message be to those who kind of still today don't really believe in low code?
At first, let me admit, I cannot convince people in this. If they're stubborn, they will be stubborn. If they don't want to believe it, they will never believe it. So that's the first thing you need to.
It's probably a bit like the shipping guys you mentioned, stuck in their old ways, right?
Exactly. That's I'm not sure how you say that in English. In Dutch, we have to saying like you're pulling on a dead horse. That doesn't.
Okay.
If you
Yeah.
want to move around, there will
Yeah.
be definitely a better saying
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know what
in
it is,
English,
but
but
yeah.
yeah, if that will never happen. But you have to find out why do you have to push back?
Mm.
And most of the time, high coders, those who have the most restriction, is I do not have control because I'm limited, the blocks are limited, and it's not doing what I want. You can show them that they have control. And I think Mendix is really strong on that as well. Because if the existing building blocks are not allowing you to do what you want to achieve, then build your own building block. Just do it. And next to that, yeah, my application governance, that's possible, but you have to show them how that works and how it is accessible and how it can be manipulated from within the Mendix platform, which is sometimes different than what they are doing. Because if you high code, you're in full control. You will run your own servers. You will configure them. You will monitor them themselves. You will have your own CI/CD pipeline with a lot of toolings and etc. You have to manage yourself. And if you show them, yeah, but within Mendix, it is orchestrated here. It's at your hands. And besides, there's no need to manage it or maintain it yourself. All those kind of tools and a little bit here, there. Then they discover that they can focus on their real added value. And how can you use the tools within Mendix and bring their knowledge to orchestrate it in the best way for that company, for their company or for their team. And so showing the power of what's already there for them, but also how they can use it and how they can bring in their own value.
Mm-hmm.
It's not about, oh, you're a high coder. Now you're going to do now low code. So forget everything you knew. And now you will be a low code developer. No, you're still a high code developer using a low code tool. And with that, you're also a low code developer, but you can still bring in all your knowledge. And I think that high code knowledge is really, really needed in a low code team. Like I said, I was happy to have Jasper. But I hope Jasper was also happy to have me. So if you can find that balance, then low code becomes also valuable for a high coder. You'll see, I don't have to do the boring stuff anymore. I can start doing the fun stuff and focus on that because the boring stuff is already automated by Mendix. And for each developer or anyone that might be different. What ticks the box? Of course, and I think that can convince people, or if they want to be convinced, you can convince them.
Of course.
So showing that, don't try to convince them. Yeah, low code is good because, and then you have your sales pitch. That will not work out. Show them what it means for them, and how that empowers them to bring in their own high code knowledge and how they can add their value through that, because they're still valuable. And I think if that's the message, if that's the discussion, then if someone's still not on board, okay, that's no. But I've seen a lot of people converting like that. Just seeing and feeling. It's also about appreciation. Why do high coders not like low code? In general, let's generalize it a little bit. Because they are afraid of, or they feel like they are not valued as high coder anymore. That's the first. And I think that's in a lot of marketing communication and We are changing the world, low code. Yeah. You don't need. The feeling is not out of the blue. I
Yeah,
understand it,
yeah,
but I think the story is a little bit different.
yeah. And a final question is obviously, I think you've had a very cool and interesting journey. What's your kind of future plans, aspirations for yourself and the academy going forward?
Um, Spread the word. I already gave you a little bit about the vision of
Mm,
of the Low Code Academy, and that must grow. That must be available worldwide. We can do it already, but we need to expand
yeah,
on
yeah,
that as well. Enabling also other partners of us to use our content and use our platform, our learning environment to help other people as well.
yeah,
That last part, helping people. That's my goal. So for my personally, no, for the Low Code Academy, I want to grow that. For me personally, if I can be the driver of that, that will be awesome.
yeah.
If I can put someone else in the driver's seat who will drive that together with me or not even with me, that will be.
Mm.
I would like that as well. And for me personally, the sun is shining now in the Netherlands. It's 17 degrees, first time this year. So my personal goal for the next few months is to enjoy the summer and then gain a little bit more energy
Amazing.
from it as well. And yeah, I think my personal drivers and the drivers of a company are so very
Yeah,
close to each
aligned.
other
Yeah, yeah,
that and yeah, collaboration. That's
yeah.
the topic in everything. Empowering
Amazing.
people and collaboration with others, because I think that you become better.
Yeah, definitely.
Related to that is also competition. I don't like it. I know it is there. I know it is
Mm.
business. I know there are business goals. I know, but this is something which does not tick the boxes for me.
Yeah,
I rather collaborate, and we
yeah,
share
yeah,
stuff, and we can
yeah,
become better, and so we can help others. That's really my goal.
yeah. Great. Well, thank you for your time. It was a pleasure to speak to you,
Thanks.
and I look forward to following your journey and see how you go.
Thank you.
Thanks, Rene. Thank you for listening to today's episode, which is brought to you by iTrack. We are a leading staffing firm that solely specializes in supplying both contract and permanent low-code professionals to organizations globally. Navigating the niche landscape of the low-code market requires the best talent, and we recognize its critical importance for our clients. Whether you're a company looking to strengthen your team, an individual seeking the next career move, or someone entirely new to the world of low-code, we're here for you. Our extensive experience and in-depth market knowledge enables us to quickly pinpoint the ideal candidates while offering expert advice and support at every stage of your low-code journey. Reach out to us through our website or connect with me directly on LinkedIn. I'd be happy to assist you. Thank you once again for joining us today. We'll be back next week with another insightful episode. Until then, take care.